Good morning to everybody. We already recorded one part of the introductions to organizational behavior. So this is usually the second part of OB. And those who are seeing this video for the first time, let me tell you that you can search YouTube by my name, Dr. Ratnakar Misra, and you can see my video there, so that you will be getting all sort of the screens or whatever we are going to set up the slides, and you will understand this. So with this, we are going to start it. Let me tell you that we have already completed one part of the introduction of the behavior. Now we are entering the second part, that we are thinking that how people are reacting to several types of the organization. So that will be discussing today what are the different styles of the organization, how people are reacting to different styles, and what people, even when they think and when they talk about the management, what exactly comes to their mind. So with this, it's just a prelude to the whatever we have already shown in the earlier PPTs. Just let me tell you that the organization is being treated as an entity, as a different entity. When we talk about, for example, when we are talking about the liability, limited liability of the company, when the company is getting formed, then we are treating the company as a different entity altogether. So there is a limited liability. Even the owner is not repaying the banking, whatever he has taken the loan from the banks, then the company will be in trouble, not the owner. So similarly, when we are talking about the behavioral model, we always perceive the organization is a different entity, and we are a stakeholder of the organization. We are part of these organizations. Okay. So, let me tell you that organizational behavior is usually a behavior which needs to be studied, because I already said in my first slide, because if we do not study the behavior, then the behavior of an individual, of a group, or of an organization will take the entire organization into problem. I mean, for example, suppose there are many informal groups in the organization that is operating that, and if the management doesn't monitor, or the management forgets to monitor their behavior, the same group may launch a big strike against the management of the organization. If they monitor, if they see the progress of the group, if they understand how the group dynamics is going on, then it may happen before launching the strike, the management may put its own emissaries to stop the strike. So in that context, what happens that it is a mandatory, or it is imperative for everyone to understand what the group performs inside the organization. So it is not only for one particular company, it is invariably present across the sectors of the management, and across the levels of the management, and across the business of the management. I mean, whether you are in academic business or you are in a software business, absolutely doesn't matter. When the human beings are in press, human beings are in works, then definitely their performance need to be monitored, their behavior need to be monitored, and what they are doing, everything should be well known to the management. Then only the things can possible, and the top management, who are the decision making body of the organization, they can push the entire organization to higher productivity level. So that is possible. I was just highlighting one example, that how in one deemed university, two people were chatting in a computer lab. That time, I'm talking, it's a long time back, when the internet came afresh, and people were using the internet in the beginning time. I'm talking about their Yahoo Messenger was in a big deal, and everybody was using the Yahoo Messenger. So in that messenger chat, two people were using the chats by putting their fake identities. So gradually what happens in the due course of the chart, then what happened, the chart went hitting up, I mean, youngsters are doing these charts like anything. So by putting the wrong, things, and they went on talking about anything on comes to their mind. After some times, one fellow who was involved in this chart actively, he just left his PC or personal computer and went out. While going out of the lab, he saw the desktop of another student who was chatting with him. Then he told that, are you chatting with me since a long time by this identity? And this fellow again astonished that, are you chatting with me with fake identity? Then what happened? Then both of them start fighting, and they called their own groups. And trust me, the university was declared sine die for 15 days. Lot of properties broken, and a lot of nonsense activities went out in the organization, and things ruled out. A lot of academic days were also hampered. So why I'm saying here that if the management or the laboratory assistant observed the behavior what the people were using inside the lab, then probably these things wouldn't have arisen. So point comes here, unless until we study the behavior, we understand what the behavior people are showing inside the organization, we cannot manage the organization properly. Okay, so with this we are going to the next level, next part of our introductions to organizational behavior part 2. This I'm commenting this, so I request all of you to please subscribe my channel, so that I will be covering off the entire syllabus of organizational behavior chapter by chapter. And also do not forget to press the bell icon, so that you will understand whenever there will be new video, you will be intimated this. So in my part 1 we have undergone this, then we go quick to where we left in the part 1, that is already uploaded in my YouTube video. So up to this we were talking about. I was talking about, just a prelude, I was talking about there are two types of model. One is the structural OB model, another is the functional OB model. Structural OB model is the pillar of the OB. I mean, you can see in the slides, that is the individual behavior, group behavior, and organizational behavior. I mean, 3 types of behavior need to be monitored, okay? And these behaviors are basically, these behaviors are based on the attributes. Attributes, we talk about these individual attributes when we are talking about individual behavior. I mean, if we talk about individual behavior, then we certainly talk about the personality, perception, learning, attitude, and value, motivation, etc. These are highly individualistic. You can't say the motivation of the class is wrong or motivation of the class is beautiful. It's a wrong statement as far as the management statements are concerned. When we are talking about motivation, it is a directly Mr. Ramesh motivation or Mr. Dinesh motivation, like this. Even if both the students, Ramesh and Dinesh, are sitting together, it is not necessarily if Dinesh is motivated, Ramesh will be motivated. Okay, it may happen looking to Ramesh, Dinesh may be motivated, but Dinesh motivations quantity or motivations veracity may not be exactly same of the Ramesh. Okay, it is purely individual basis. So you may be motivated or you may not be motivated, or external factors may play a role, internal factors play a role, which we will discuss in the course of our time. But the point comes here, we talk about structural OB model that is based on 3 pillars. One is the individual behavior, second one is the group behavior, third one is the organizational behavior. When we talk about individual behavior, we talk about individual attributes. When we talk about group behavior, we talk about the group dynamics, how the group performs. So in that case, we come across the group dynamics, the leadership, power and politics, communications, and conflict. And when we talk about organizational behavior, then we are talking about entire organization as a whole. So when we talk about organizational behavior, we talk about the organizational culture, we talk about organizational development. So these things are stress, organizational stress. So these things we are talking from the organizational behavior point of view. So these 3 pillars are subsequently merged into the organizational effectiveness. Purpose of saying is, if you need your organization to be effective, then definitely you have to have a right mixture, right proportion, or a right productivity of your individual behavior, group behavior, and organizational behavior. I just gave an example about individual behavior. I mean, the two people, those who were involved in a chatting in a computer lab, and their behavior was not able to be monitored by the lab assistant, so it created a lot of problem. So similarly, group people are also involved in the group dynamics, and they involve in the group activities. So what is there going on and how things are going on, if we need to monitor, we have to monitor for the organizational effectiveness. So with this, we start our second part of the introduction of the organizational behavior. This is structural OB model. Now we are going to talk about other OB model or functional OB model. So before functional OB model, which is very realistic and which is very practical and people are using that, we must be knowing what is a model after all. Model, you can see the slides and you can read the slides. Model, I'm explaining it as a style of operations. I mean, in the way of your life, way of a life. One beautiful example that comes to my mind, the students can take it. Model of family behavior. For example, if we are talking about a model of family behavior, in Indian families, you may be largely finding three models of family behavior. I mean, I'm talking between the relationship between a husband and a wife. Okay, you just understand it. Suppose husband earns, wife doesn't earn. Wife is a housemaker, and the wife is staying inside the house. Husband earns. So there is one model where husband earns and gives the entire money to wife, and whenever there is a requirement, wife gives money to the husband. That Indian people feel that the ladies are more conservative as far as the finance is concerned. They are good finance managers, so people believe it. So what happens, to save more money or to have more potential of the saving, people give their salary, entire salary, to their wife, to their better spouse, and the spouse keeps it in the almirah. Then whenever there is a requirement, husband asks money to the wife, and wife gives the money by restricted amount. Then the whole month they are spending like this. This is one model. You may like it, may not like it, but this is one model I'm talking about. This is a what? Practice or a style of operating inside the family. We are talking about model. The second one is that husband doesn't give anything to wife. Husband keeps entire salary in his pocket. So whenever, or in bank account, whenever wife requires something for the house expenses, the wife asks the husband every time. This was an old, family system you might be finding in the Indian families who are quite old. I mean, the grandmother, father are still existing. They will be telling it. It is a beautiful structure of the old conservative Indian family system. I mean, husband not necessarily sharing the money with the wife, and whenever there is a requirement, each time, maybe it's a weekly, maybe it's a bi-monthly, or maybe it's a monthly, the wife will ask money from the husband. Husband gives money to the wife, and they spend like this. It was going on. It was going on in a bigger way. So this is one model. What it is, our point of topic is that a model, practice. This is also practice. Third model, I'm going to tell that husband earns money, brings money, and shares money. I mean, 50% is given to the wife for the household expenses, and 50% is kept by the husband for outside expenses. I mean, for example, to furnish a bank loan, to give the EMI, and a lot of outside expenses are there, which usually the husband does. Then husband spends the 50% for the outside expenses, and the wife spends 50% in the inside expenses. I mean, purchasing groceries, purchasing vegetables, purchasing non-veg items, or purchasing any linens. So purchasing any items, household items, the wife spends the 50%. So this is a practice. This is a practice. Many modern household people are doing this. So what happens here? The involvement is going on between the husband and wife. So any family who understands a model of the family practices, they can adopt any one model. Similarly, we are talking about the organizational model. Okay, so organizational model, we go straight to the organizational model here. These are 5 organizational model available. As per the theorist opinion, there are 5 organizational model, autocratic, custodial, supportive, collegial, and system models. Let me tell you, in the management, there is a nothing good or nothing bad permanently. I mean, we are not debating any one model is good, any one model is bad. We are thinking it in the mind that every model is having its own advantages and disadvantages and application properties. I mean, sometimes you can use one model, some other time you can use other model. It's not like that autocratic is bad or custodial is good, or custodial is bad, supportive is good. It's absolutely not. I mean, sometimes as per your situation demands, you can put autocratic model. If the situation changes, you can put the custodial model. If the situation further changes, you can adopt another model like this. We are talking about, so we will be discussing what these 5 models are here. The first one is autocratic model. You can, dear students, you can see the slides, you can read it, but let me tell you that what happens in the autocratic model. When we talk about autocratic, you people are tempted to take the societal leaders names like your Hitler, Saddam Hussein. Even in the recent times, people started talking about Vladimir Putin, who is the president of Russia. So people are telling them those people are autocratic. Okay, we are not going to debate on them. Our purpose is not to debate on them, what they are doing it, what they are not doing it. We are not going to debate on that. We are talking about the nature of this model. Nature of this model is that autocratic is a unilateral. I mean, it's a single directional, unidirectional. I mean, in autocratic model, the instruction comes from the top to bottom, not bottom to top. It is not multidirectional, or it's not bidirectional. It is perfectly unidirectional. I mean, I will be saying you just listen. Okay, I'll be passing the commands and you just work it out. You can, in a workable model, you can say that Indian army or military, you can take an example in that they love the protocol so much. A junior commissioned officer in Indian army never questions or never pass any suggestions to the upper level. I mean, they are supposed to abide by the protocol and they are supposed to receive the instructions from the top to bottom. It's not bottom to top. Okay, I'm talking about the overall situation. It's not like that, if we ask Indian army captain, they may say that we are also doing democratically, but absolutely not. When we are citing one example, we see the overall environment about the company or about the structure or about the organization we are talking about. We are not talking about any specific situations. If you search for specific situation, then every model is workable. Every model is workable. Then we cannot discuss at all. Okay, so for discussion level, we are taking certain examples which are felt like autocratic model. One example I gave you, just the Indian military system, what we observed. That means the top management is passing instructions to the junior commissioned officers and they are supposed to execute it. They are not supposed to contradict it, or they are not supposed to question it, right? And in the similar fashion, suppose there is a riot in the town. There is a curfew in the town. Emergency is declared. In that case, you will feel what is autocratic is. Autocratic is means only instructions will be coming from the police, from the magistrate, and everybody is bound to follow that instructions. Similarly, in the organizational context, we can discuss about, suppose there is a deadline is approaching. Suppose you are working in a 30-40 team members. A team lead is leading you. Then you got a contract, and by month of March 31st, you have to submit the contract to the client, project to the client. In that case, what happens? Suppose you need a leave. You say to your team lead, sir, I need a leave. I have CLs with me. I am supposed to go to my hometown for attending a meeting or attending a ceremony. Your boss denied it. Your boss denied it. He says, no, I will not grant your leave. You just go and work it out. Then you are astonished, what the hell it is autocratic is going on. It is my right to take a leave and go at any time, but boss denies it. You may feel a pinch of autocratic here. The boss is completely autocratic, and he directs you, go to work, complete the assignment, then come to me. So when I'm talking about when the emergency situations are there, when the panic situations are there, we largely use the autocratic model. No discussion, no feedback system, no need of any feedback system. We only get the command from the top. We are supposed to execute it. So this will feel you like an autocratic model. So I gave you an example that when the company needs barely to achieve its deadline or the client is approaching, we impose autocratic model. You can use it. Okay, so that is why we are not talking about merits or demerits here, because we are talking about, people may not be liking it. Demerits or disadvantages, you may tell that people may not be liking it, because in a democratic country like India, or everything is supposed to be democratically wrong, then why people will be liking it? People will not appreciate it, but it is mandatorily to be done. I mean, the people need to work it out in a tightrope situations, because the deadline is approaching, the client is approaching. So that is their autocratic model. So in similar fashion, we will be discussing the other models as well. This is one model, custodial model. It is coming from the need of custody. I mean, custody, you are under my custody. The police takes you under his custody. Hajat, you might be seeing in the police station, there is the name Hajat, Hazat. I mean, that is a custody. That is a Hindi word, that is a custody. I mean, if you are put inside the custody, the policeman who is in charge, the officer in charge, is responsible for your all well-being. Suppose something happened to you, the officer in charge will be in deep trouble. So custody means you are under my custody. I take care of your all security needs. So one example here I will highlight, which you can correlate to the practical things and like that. Many companies, many organizations or companies, they have their own townships. They protect their employees and they keep their gunmen in the gates, and all the employees are kept inside the townships. All the quarters are there. So people are taking care of their security needs. There will be no security threat if you are inside the townships. Basically, you will be finding that in the northeastern region, where it was a troubled areas, a lot of troubles were there for the people, those who are going from the other locations of the country there. Then the township concept came in a big way. Although many public sector undertakings in India, they have their own dedicated townships for their employees. They put their quarters. We call it a quarters or a townships. Suppose one complete employee, they develop their townships, then they completely put their security items in the mind. So no people will be in trouble if they are residing inside the townships. So this is one model, custodial model, where the manager treats every employee is my custody. It's my responsibility. I'm accountable. That is a custodial model. Second one is the supportive model, which we can compare to the democratic things. I mean, I will support you. Suppose I give you one task to do, and I will not give any supportive resources to you. Then can you do that? You will find very difficult to do that. In supportive model, what happens, it's the relationship is beautiful, it's a democratically run, and people understand each roles, people are giving the resources to carry out the orders. Then it's a supportive model. It's the most of the beautiful thing, which aims to increase the productivity of the people inside the organizations. If people are properly taken care, if they are supported, then definitely their productivity will be higher. This is the larger theories are opining in favor of this model. Next model, we talk about a collegial model. I mean, recently there is a news coming in the round that the Western countries, including your Germany, France, US, they have put sanctions to the Russian oligarchs. There is a word, oligarchy. There is a word, I repeat it, oligarchs. I mean, we can talk about plutocracy, mobocracy types. I mean, a couple of people will run the show. Other people are not associated with this. All the policies will be taken by a couple of people or a team. There is a collegial model. Collegial relates to a body of people working together. Earlier, if we take to the history into account, you might be knowing that the kings were having certain oligarchs. Lord King Vikramaditya, you take for example, specific example, he was having a Navaratna. We talk about the 9 jewels. 9 jewels, those people are oligarchs. They were representing every strata of life, every walks of life. Okay, and suppose a medicine will be there, a medicine discussion will be there. One oligarch, Charak and Susrut, they will be representing that. If it is, some other things, then their own ministers are there. These 9 jewels, 9 ministers were heading the all departments. We can call it as a oligarchy, or we can call it a collegial model. The group, there are certain advantages of this, because those people, those who form a team under this, they must be well aware and well-to-do people, those who are expertise, having certain expertise in their own field, and they can advise the king at the time of need, and they can run their country like anything. This is the most brilliant people or selected people like this. We are coming to example of the organizations. Then in the similar manner, certain organization is being run. I mean, a couple of people, for example, we do that in our nation. But suppose if we take the example of the college, then all the HODs, there is a council, academic council will be there. So in the academic council of this college or institute, you will be finding all the head of the departments there. All the head of the departments will be there, all IQAC head will be there, R&D coordinator will be there, welfare committee chief will be there. So these people will be sitting together and taking the decision for the entire college or the institute. So point comes here, when we talk collegial model, advantage is there. We are getting the most brilliant people, most prolific people, and most expert people in one team, one location, so that the policy will be, it can be immediately chalked out or immediately finalized. People will be giving their best brains to that, and other people are supposed to execute that. Okay, so this is one model where certain organization may run or may adopt. Last model, I mean, out of the 5th model, we already discussed the 4th model. This is the last model. This is the system model. System model says that we are in an open system and everybody is a part of that system. Everybody is the part of that system. Okay, so that is the point where we are thinking about everybody is important of that system. Everybody. Even for example, suppose we are taking a small organization, office assistants are there, clerks are there, managers are there, professors are there, like this. You can't say that professors are more important. Professors may be important, but your office assistants are also important. Your sweeping personnel are also important. If they don't sweep clean, then your hygiene will be in trouble and you cannot concentrate on your work. Your productivity will be directly hampered. That means we must understand that as we are operating in an open system, every subsystem is equally important and we should pay respect to this. If we are talking from the Indian context point of view, I must bet that Western countries understand very well about this systems model and will try to keep it. Indian people are usually status oriented, designation oriented, level oriented. It may happen that we may not give importance to our office executives or office assistants. We don't care then. But if he doesn't come one day, then my files are kept on the table. It cannot be transferred. Then I will be in deep trouble talking to people like this. So we must understand this model and we must utilize this model and we must give respect to every level of this model. So till now, we discussed 5 models of organizational behavior. We talked them. These are the functional model of the organizational behavior. So today we discussed structural model of OB as well as the functional models of the OB. Now we are going to the 21st century challenges. Okay. This is my last slide of my part 2 of the introductions to the organizational behavior. These are the challenges. I mean, you can talk about suppose one OB manager is running the organization. What sort of challenges are coming before him? And what are the barriers? What are the bottlenecks? What are the stoppages? What are the blockages he faces while executing the policy, while trying to run the organization? So one is the workplace diversity. Diversity, we understand, everybody is different. I mean, we are different in the way of gender, way of age, locality, language, caste, religion, choice or profession, passion, interest, and even the food habits. Somebody is a vegetarian, somebody is a non-vegetarian. Okay, so like this, the workplace is consisting of a lot of mixture of the people, and different people from are there working in the company who are from different cultures. In different choice of the people are also different. I mean, somebody is working till late night, but somebody sleeps early. So who sleeps early, he wakes up much earlier, but who is working late night, he is a late riser. So choice are different. So when OB manager running the organization, how he can handle it? I will be highlighting one example, beautiful example here. Once I went for a training program in my place, that is a Barampur in Odisha. I went to Kalikot College. So there was one training program was going on. I was called as a resource person there, so I went. Just before, what we trainers usually do, we just test the audience for their test at the level of the knowledge. So I put certain questions. One gentleman was sitting there among the students. He used to answer all, whereas the rest of the students were kept silent, or they kept mum, and they do not participate in these questions. But the gentleman is almost equal to my age. Okay, then I swiftly asked the faculty member, those who were beside me, then who is this gentleman who asked all the questions? But my question is actually intending to the participants. Then the faculty member replied, sir, he is also a participant because his age is higher. I mean, he is more than 40, 45 years, but he took admission here because there is no age bar. And maximum age of the participants, I mean, almost all except him, the age is hardly between 20 to 22. I mean, it's a post-graduation program was there. So 20 to 22. You see me, 20 to 22, 59 people are there, and 145 age, one man is there. So don't you feel it's an outlier? And he will be answering all my questions, but majority of them cannot understand what I'm going to speak. If I target gentleman, then my level of offering will be much more higher, which will be difficult to take by the participants. But if I target the entire participants, then the gentleman will be antagonized. Isn't it? It's a challenge for me. So somehow I handle it. I told the gentleman to please wait, let us other participants also answer it. Then we started the training program. So similarly, if your workplace is consisting of several variety of people, then there will be a challenge for your top management and your top manager or CEO, whatever designation you take it, there is a challenge. So second one is the contingent of the temporary workers. This is a very good thing is there. Contract workers are there aplenty. It's completely aplenty. Many organizations are hiring contractual workers that are having a good composition of their workforce, but they are not your regular workforce, so they will not be participating in your mainstream affairs or mainstream or day-to-day affairs. They will not participate. They will not be there. They will just work and get out. So how your performance will be there? Suppose in an institute, we will hire maximum guest faculties. Hardly 2 or 3 core faculty member will be there. The rest of them are the guest faculty who comes to the class and goes out once they complete their class. Then who will solve the students' problems? So do you feel it's easy for those 2 or 3 core faculty members to solve all the students' activities? It's extremely difficult. So contingent temporary workers is, very difficult. This is a great challenge. Third one is the expression of emotions, a rise of violence and the romance in the workplace. So youngsters, those who are seeing my slide or seeing this video, you can well understand, because what is the kind of rise of violence and the romance is going on in the workplace. People are tempted to be attracted about the opposite gender. They cannot control their emotion. Emotional imbalance is largely perceived. If we say, if you minor hurt the sentiment, there is a spot of violence inside the workplace. So this is a challenge. Next one is the work-life balance. What we talk about, because I already told you, I highlight, we are having 2 lives. One is the professional life, another is the personal life, and there must be a balance between the professional and personal life. You can't say that you cannot be an Abdul Kalam who forgot his marriage date. He was so workaholic, he went once inside the lab, then continuously he used to work for 2 days, 3 days inside the lab, and by the time the marriage date came and gone, he forgot it. So he was a thorough professional, and we are enjoying his professionalism. We are really, really enjoying his, the dedication, his devotion, his professionalism, and his output, scientific output. We are enjoying it. But what is his life? He was a bachelor. He died a bachelor. So my point is that work-life balance is also important in our life. Everybody cannot be a scientist. Everybody cannot be Abdul Kalam. But point is that we have to think about, there is a life outside the professional work and there is a life inside the professional work, and we must be well balancing it. The next one is the globalization. In globalization tends to the rise of the expectations of the employees. Globalization, I mean the foreign companies are coming to India to operate it. One good example I can highlight it, which will be much more benefiting to you. In the 1990, when Manmohan Singh was finance minister, India was opened up. I mean, we call LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. It took place. In that case, many foreign companies came to India to do business. I still remember in Odisha, we are having a beautiful TV that is called as a Konark. And in similar fashion, every state was having TV manufacturing unit, television manufacturing unit. For example, you can tell Delhi government was having Dionara. UP government was having Western, Uptron was from UP government, and West Bengal government was having Western. These are all brands, all state-wise brands, and these were running very good, doing a very, very brisk business. But the moment LG, Samsung, Thomson, Sansui, all these people came along with these local brands, we lost our own national brands that time. Those who were doing pan-India business like your Onida, BPL and Videocon, 3 brands were existing pan-India, and all these brands were existing in the state-wise. All died. I repeat, all died. The moment those people came, they were offering the television set much cheaper rate than the Indian brands were offering it. Why? People will be, astonishing why this happened. Because suppose I get a good brand in a cheaper price, then definitely what the customers will do, they will go for this brand. Who cares about whether the brand is Indian or foreign? My purpose to be solved. Right now, we are also facing the same problem when we are bringing items from the China. China, torch industries is the, you can example of the torch, battery torch. Every day, I purchased one battery, 2 battery everyday torch in the 200 rupees. Now and we will be changing the batteries often. Okay. Now, and the lighting also very bad. Now we are getting 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees of LED lights imported from China. Then can everybody sustain this? Can they sustain this? So that is a lot of challenges there at the globalization. And they brought a lot of positive things are also there. We got to know what are the new skills, new policies, new items, new procedures. We got to know a lot of technology as well. And there are a lot of societal changes we witnessed, whether it is our cultural attributes or whether our cultural practices. We are largely influenced by the global people, global players, and but it was a big challenge to the Indian companies. So 21st century challenges, if we sum up, then these things are coming on, and globalization is leading to the rise of expectations of the employees. I mean, they are bringing dollar money. So $1 is 75 rupees. So if they bring $1, if they offer $1,000, then this is 75,000 to the Indian engineer or a manager. Well, the people, the starting salary in India is almost 30 to 40,000 break, but it is not the minimum salary as offered in the US or Canada. Their logical is that they have to pay minimum $2,000 dollar to any employee. Nobody in US will get less than $2,000. And what is the Indian rupees? Indian rupees is 1,50,000. Are we offering in the same thing to Indian engineers or the managers? We are not offering it. But they may offer $500. For them, it's absolutely nothing. But for us, it's a big one. Okay. So our expectation is rising. Suppose today, this year, one engineer is working at the 30,000. Tomorrow, after 1 year, he starts bargaining it. He tells that I need 50,000. Otherwise, I will leave your company and join my competitor, join the company's competitor. So this is the rising expectations. And people are expecting a lot from their managers, a lot from their top management, that we need this, we need that. The foreign companies can offer it, but the Indian companies they are not been able to offer it. But how to handle the rising expectations. So globalization is linked to the rising expectations of the employees at the workplace. So these are more or less the 21st century challenges. Of course, there are many other challenges, socio-cultural changes are also coming in. So that is coming in the workplace diversity we can talk about. But these are more or less challenges. So with this, these the challenges, I think I should stop sharing the slides. And you got the more or less the introductions to OB and what is happening inside the organization. So we discussed from the beginning what the genesis of the management till the challenges. So these things are going on, and with this, I think I should I should stop this. So I request you, this is my part 2 of the introduction of the OB. I will be posting certain videos about all the aspects of organizational behavior, like your learning, motivation, personality, perception. Beautiful videos will be coming in. We will be talking about them one by one, and we will be thinking about them. So I request to please subscribe my channel so that you can understand, you can see my videos, you can use for your classroom purposes. You can you see the slides, you can write notes out of it. Okay, so with this, I stop, I complete the introduction of organizational behavior. Henceforth, we will enter the real OB with the individual attributes, what we just discussed about it. Thank you. So stay safe, stay well, and see you in my next slide.